Guys, if you're a DY local or Northern Beaches local, you would have been driving past this building for the last 5 years. A very, very long build. We're going to talk about building, why it takes longer than you think. Is it a good sign, bad sign? Stay tuned.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Morning Minutes. Myself, Michael Bergio, Mark Novak, episode 1567, talking about DY's longest build. We are so excited to be talking about the one and only Havana development coming soon to the beautiful residents of DY. Absolutely stunning. It's a building behind us, corner position where the old subway used to be, on the corner of Oaks Avenue and Pittwater Road, an iconic spot. Even going back before this was built, the shops where this building was located were some of the most highly sought after retail shops in DY, and now we have a beautiful building. But Mark, this started ages ago. I think
long time ago.
Years ago, pre-COVID. You know how people say there's always like before 9/11, after 9/11. And in my mind, it's like before COVID, after COVID. There's two distinct eras. This building started pre-COVID.
Building costs exploded. A lot's happened. A lot has happened. And this was actually the location of the original post office in DY. So it was a super central. I actually remember the post office was there. I remember the post office selling at auction. And then I remember the guy that built new shops there and rented them for a long time. So this is going back probably 30 years. A lot's happened. Now here you are. This is presented, and the most asked question that I get is, why did it take so long? Everyone's like, what's happened? Is everything okay? Is the developer okay? Is the building okay? Is it still a good building to buy in? Questions like that. So we wanted to cover that today, and also the fabulous success on the tail end I want to talk about, because it's been getting exceptional prices, and people are loving the finishes. They're loving the fit out, which is I haven't seen something delivered impressing people like this. Like it's incredible. So it's want to talk about. Let's talk about.
I totally agree with like the buyer reaction. It's been so positive, and they've also I know the buyers are a little bit biased when they compare it to other developments they haven't bought in, but how just honest they've been, like, this is far superior to what else is being offered. They're almost surprised, which is really great, because we always love selling something that's great quality that people love. So that makes us feel good. And I think that's one of the reasons why we've sold so many in the last couple of weeks. But before that, why did it take so long? Is it the builder? Was something wrong? Did Meriton have an issue? Talk us through it.
Well, and look,
you've got to dig.
Yeah, and don't forget, something like this normally costs. We've seen buildings of this size built in 13 months in the same street. So 100 units, 13 months, and 14 months, I think it was, with Osprey. And then you get this, which is 5 years, to build. And what people actually miss is people get. Well, I've had the conversation with the builder over the years hundreds of times, and the couple of things that took longer than expected. COVID, that sort of came. That was tools down for periods. Wet weather. We had an extraordinary wet weather climate in Sydney through a period. I think they recorded something like 240 rain days or something like that through that period across Sydney. So all builders took, they sort of got hit right at the wrong time in the ground, and also the depth they had to go down. So sometimes you just don't know.
4 basement.
Four basement levels. Yeah. So that's a, 4, 5. 4.
4. Yeah.
Yeah. So they've gone down a lot, but then they had to go down even further. And if ground conditions are tough, then you got to keep going down. So I know Meriton next door went down 65 meters, and I remember there was a speech that Harry Triggerboff did next door, and he said, "I've never poured this much concrete into a building in my life." And the guys built 70,000 units. So the ground conditions in DY in that location were extraordinarily costly.
Sandy.
You know,
I think the
yeah,
easiest way to think about it, when you're at the beach and you take a handful of sand out, how the sand sort of always sort of fills in on itself. I think
yeah,
that's the easiest way to think of a lot of the soil in this location. Now I know across the street that like DY Grand, their issue was water. They had a lot of water coming through, and I know even to this day there's still some effects of the water. So there's always potentially something once you start digging. And buyers may not know, like developers do their best to sort of judge what the soil conditions will be. It's called, what is it, a geotech report,
yep,
where they dig some boreholes to get a sample of the soil. But if you're digging a 1,200 square meter block and you've only dug, say, 10 or 20 boreholes, there's always plenty of surprises that could come up. And because they wanted to build it correctly, the correct foundation and secure, it took a lot longer. Like Meriton said,
yes,
he took out, what was it, 100 truckloads, or like constantly every hour, trucks of sand at one after each other. And they never knew that going into it. He even said, I think in that speech, or maybe one of the offsiders said, like, the additional cost to the development that brought onto the project, if the market didn't do so well, it would have had them rethinking the whole balance sheet. So it's a lot of risk for the developers out there.
it's big time. And also they do piles. So for people that don't know, they so when they go around the outer boundary of the property, they pile down like a telegraph pole but thicker.
Like Venice,
And they hey.
how Venice was built in Italy. Venice, like in the swamps, they did just like the piles, big poles in the
Very
same concept.
European of you. Very
Yeah.
European of you, Michael. Worldwide traveller who's just come
Yeah.
from Italy.
Yeah.
So the piles actually go down all that way. So they'll go down, say 30, 40 meters all the way down. Then they fill them with reinforcement, with steel, and then they pour high tensile concrete in them. And they do one a day. So I think there was 300, 400 piles that went into that building of Havana, and you're only doing one a day. So when you got
Yeah.
rain days and you're doing 330 piles, and you got 5 work days where they're doing that piling, that's years and years and years of piling.
It's crazy. But once they got past the hole that dug the basement, it went along
Yep.
really smoothly. This developer, they've built a lot of buildings. They've done it for a long time. And you could really see how swiftly things have gone. Even now, like the last month, from when we could start showing the property to
Yeah.
them, I think almost getting their OC now, it's just a well-oiled machine, a great family-owned, family-run developer.
Yep. And what they are, great guys to deal with, and it's been really good. It's been interesting because there's been 2 agents working on it, ourselves and another agency, and I think it's been a bit of a feather in our cap. You sort of don't like working with other agents because you want to sell it all, you want the lion's share, but it's a really nice reference point of performance, to have same tools, same property, and 2 different agents, and then see the level of sales we've done. So the ratio's been awesome. So well done to you, Michael.
Yes. And like I said, it helps when you've got a great building. Like not often when we work with CGI images throughout the marketing campaign. And when that scaffolding comes down and it shows a beautiful facade and it looks way more impressive, it's great. I'm proud of it. And also, I know for myself, it's really quite, and you would have the same. Like Mr. Vakop owned a large portion of this building. And I remember when I first started real estate, like 15 years ago, some of my first rental deals for little offices was in this complex.
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
to help facilitate the actual site sale, and then now to be selling the end product of apartments. It's really nice to see it go full circle. So it's quite.
And the shops did well.
Shops did amazing. Like the
I'm
rates.
surprised how well I'm surprised he did such small shops, and I'm surprised how well those small shops sold.
Some of the highest rates ever in DY, except the beachfront, and we've been inundated with tenant inquiries to go in there as well. So it's going to be amazing when it opens. But I think just back to, from a buyer looking at this project, should they be worried because it took so long? Is there any long-lasting effects? Is there any issues, or is that all in the past from a buyer's point of view?
Meriton's been great. Meriton's got the same. Meriton took time to build. They're in the ground a long time. They didn't have the rain days, and they didn't have as much basement. And I think they only went down a couple of levels rather than this going down 4 levels. But it stood proud. It's been a great building. It's done really well for DY. So I've got a feeling Havana's just going to have a beautiful reputation. It'll be very sought after. It'll be, I think it's pretty hard to realize the icon when you're building an icon, or to realize an icon when you're in it. But it's like trying to read a jar from the inside. I think in the years to come, when we're going to be looking at this property from the outside, it's really going to become iconic. So it's great to be part of it.
Yeah, and I think one thing I tell buyers as well, all the delays were really digging the hole, and the building wasn't left open. Like, we've had a development. I remember seeing one on Spit Road, Mossman, where the structure was half built. Sometimes the roof's on, roof's off, and it's left dormant for years. And you're like, all the walls, internal walls, are getting the weathering for years when it's not supposed to.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big factor. I've always said to buyers, going, all the delays were bought before the building. Everything is fresh here. And a lot of buyers are reassured with that as well. But also just the pricing, setting new benchmark for your Pittwater Road, Oaks Avenue unit complex, 80 apartments, no affordable housing, no government housing. And that's a big thing with all the new developments.
Yeah. And it's so close to everything as well. So it's interesting, but hats off to the developers for doing something great for the community. I think. I know developers are. People are always like, developers, they're making lots of money and don't have much care for them. But these guys really made a concerted, hardcore effort at delivering something good for the area. So yeah, it's great.
And they're hardworking as well. They're so hard. But even this is a comment to show you the type of developer they are. We were trying to put another site together for them to buy, and one developer had owned that block, trying to sell it to this developer, made a comment about like all the extra rules. Like pre-COVID, to get your OC, it was 8 certificates, and now it's 300. And let's say the other developer was sort of like, oh, all these rules, it's implying that it's bad. And the developer of Havana was like, no, it's good. It gets rid of all the bad builders. Like, they embrace the changes. They embrace the extra regulation.
Yeah, it was impressive because you don't hear that much.
No, a better build, a better quality. So, yeah, love working with them.
Happy days.
And we've got five one-bedrooms left. I think there's 6 two-bedrooms left. So if you're looking to buy an apartment, or you own a block and you'd love them to build an iconic building like this on that block, let us know.
They're very keen to move on to the next building, so we'll be hoping we'll be part of that as well. If you want to sell your site, call us.
Beautiful.
Thanks, Michael.
Thanks, everyone.
See you, everyone. Have a great day.